All right, so this is a viewer submission for kind of a sweet variation of this archetype. So we've played bigger versions of Enigmatic Incarnation on this stream before that go up and play a ton of 5-drops and a ton of 4s. This deck actually isn't playing any 3-mana enchantments. It's all 1 and various 2-mana enchantments to search up utility 2-drops and various 3-drops. One piece of innovation that I really like in this list that I think I would take to play in the bigger version that we play on occasion is Lurrus of the Dream Den seems really fantastic. Getting to turn your Omen into a Lurrus and then letting you like recast Omen and stuff from the bin seems super sweet and powerful. One change I made to the original submission is I added 2 5-drops to the deck because something that would come up a lot in the other variation that we played is like you have 2 incarnations and you don't mind sacrificing them to each other to get something that's really good against aggro. So Yarok plus Tolsmir against aggro is super powerful. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this and see how it goes. Yeah, I'm still wearing a mask when I go inside places. But I've pretty much stopped wearing it when we're just like outside at the park or walking around. Because I agree with you. You're way more likely to pick up germs when you're inside somewhere. I'd prefer to try and avoid getting colds. The cold that my entire family currently have was definitely brought in via my 1-year-old. She had it first. Do we keep this? It has a Brainstorm. Opponent's playing Wellspring, so they're playing... I guess I have to ask myself the question, how good are these cards against Niv? Not very good, I think, is the answer. Yeah, this is better. Blame the defenseless 1-year-old. I mean, it's her fault. I love her, and she's a wonderful little 1-year-old, but she's definitely a plague rat. Man, this deck would kill for a copy of Abundant Growth instead of Unbridled Growth. We're just bottoming these. We're looking for more threats, right? In non-Western countries, what's the word that I'm searching for? Wearing masks, especially when people are individually sick, tended to be very commonplace already. So it'd be nice if that was just a new norm here. Am I worried about my kids getting COVID? Yeah, definitely. They're still, like I said, they're all still wearing masks when we're indoors with things. While it's not impossible to get sick from other people when you're outside, like, unless you're, like, right on top of each other, the odds of, like, catching something airborne when there's wind and stuff and everything's moving around outside is, like, pretty minimal. So, all of us are still wearing masks when we go indoors places, but outside I'm giving them free reign for the most part. Zebs, thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. There's also something to be said about allowing kids to get back to playing with other kids too. That's important. Like, my 6 and 7-year-olds have been asking for a while, you know, when do they get to see people again? They've had each other to play with, but it's been a long year. It's kind of heartbreaking to hear that question as a parent. overlay is still Stream Decker instead of... Did Stream Decker reload itself? It did reload itself. Weird. I'm going to delete Stream Decker so that doesn't happen again. Install. And I believe I have activated the untapped extension. I explicitly unloaded it last night and reloaded the untapped when I was done. Actually, I loaded untapped mid-stream. It's probably just a bug on Twitch's end. So far, our deck not looking particularly competitive against our opponent's heavily controlling interactive deck. We have a bunch of individually low-quality cards that just got picked apart by my opponent's one-for-one interaction. The previous builds of this archetype that we had played that were a little bit bigger always excelled at playing against aggro and struggled against the controlling decks. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a similar type of thing here with this one. I mean, that draws a card, right? You ran the Smothering Storm deck into Mythic. That's awesome to hear, Mono Blue Burn. That's fantastic. So I'm actually gonna hold off on sacrificing this to draw a card until a little bit later. I want to wait until the end of their turn so they can't discard Spell May. Yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and this is it, right? Like, we were kind of keeping up with their one-for-ones, but they have so much card selection with things like Expressive Iteration that they eventually hit this, and then this just draws them 3 cards that draw them more cards, and now we just can't win anymore, right? Like, even with finding a removal spell here, the Krasis just buries its next turn, right? Yeah, I think the current historic format is the most narrow historic format I've played since I started playing this format. In terms of the number of decks that feel competitively viable and the range of decks you run into. Thanks, Beansy, you too. Okay. Can we outgrind them? This is the question, right? If we can outgrind them here, we might have a real shot. Hydrate Grace is going to be a tough one. I don't think they can take Enigmatic Incarnation off the table there, right? You should never feel bad for enjoying a format of Magic. It is not your job to make sure other people are having fun. What's going on, Magnus? Appreciate the quarter of a year. Would they play Binding? Usually not a ton of copies of that card. What's the text on Lurrus? Okay, so I could do this. And then I can sack this, get Lurrus, and then Lurrus lets me do this before we pass the turn. It might be right to just, like, run back the trial, Renegade Rallier the trial. Yeah, my line might have been a little greedy here. Like I said, I don't think it's gonna matter though, because like gestures broadly at the other side of the board. Yeah, they get to go land, Helix my Lurrus, spear my Enigmatic Incarnation. What's going on, Lenny? Thanks for the 17 months. I can't even kick this, right? I just don't have second black. Yikes. I guess I can kill the Hydrate Graces, so I'm not dead on board. I wanted to kill Niv and attack. And like, they've got 15 cards in their graveyard, so even if somehow their hand ran out of gas, they have Cling to Dust to flashback 3 times. Just a really, really solid showing of how the opponent's archetype takes over and dismantles decks like ours in the late game. I spent part of last night while I was waiting for my videos to process on YouTube, putting together data for tomorrow's Meta Monday. So we took last week off because we didn't have a lot of data points, but between last weekend and this current weekend, we had over 600 matches of Historic played on MTG Melee that we can break down and talk about. So we will start tomorrow's stream with an installment of Meta Monday. I know some folks were asking about that since we skipped it last week. I finished 5-3 for top 32. I lost my winning in for top 8 in the last round. I lost the same 75 card combo deck twice, and the matchup didn't feel particularly close, and Dead Guy's probably not playable while that deck's competitive. You just can't beat Brainstorm combo decks. Thoughtseize isn't good enough disruption against Brainstorm combo decks. It's just like the TLDR. Which deck? The Sage of the Falls Locust God combo press a pick. you know, the deck they banned Time Warp from, but it's still busted. Because they shouldn't have banned Time Warp, they should have banned Brainstorm and Expressive Iteration. They'll ban creative. The longer Brainstorm remains legal and historic, the more I become concerned that it's going to be another legacy where instead of banning Brainstorm, which is the actual problem, they just ban around it because they want to leave it in the format for whatever reason. So I hope that that's not going to end up being the case, but the longer we go, the more I become concerned that that's what's happening. Yeah, we'll see. My optimism's at a kind of a low point. Maybe the D&D set will do something interesting for Standard. I honestly I think I'm gonna wait to put up the MTG Melee page for the next Toglandia Open until we get some more details. Because if Brainstorm remains legal, the next Open might be Standard, depending on what the D&D set looks like. This draws a card at least. Huh. Come in for both of these. Could we house ban Brainstorm? Yeah, that could be the answer too. Yeah, maybe that's just the right play. Maybe we just house ban it. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that, but that's probably the play. Just do their job for them. So, I talked about this a little bit earlier. I think I've decided against doing Arena Vintage because it's just too inaccessible. Having people play proper Arena Vintage decks would require them to craft a bunch of cards that they could never use anywhere else. That's in the spirit of Vintage is too expensive. You're not wrong. I don't know how we ever beat their hand. So it's not just Teferi and Uro and stuff, right? Like in an Arena Vintage format, people would want to be playing with cards like Swords to Plowshares and Lightning Bolt and Natural Order and Demonic Tutor. So it require a lot of rare counterspell. Yeah, it require a lot of rare and mythic wild cards for people to do right, which I don't think I'd feel very good about encouraging people to make. Honestly, I think I just get back Scavenging Ooze here, right? Just want a bunch of things that can pressure the Teferi.
Keep up the pace.
Well, Arena Vintage isn't a real thing. It's something that we talked about doing as a custom format, Punishing Waterfalls. I think it's silly to say And this is something that pedantic Magic players do a lot. I think it's incredibly silly to say that all of the archives were a mistake on Arena. I think that's just objectively wrong. I think the archives have actually been really good for this format if they were just managed properly. There are a ton of really sweet design. Yeah, I don't even think, like, I agree. Yeah, I agree with Precipic. I think the people that are like, oh, it was guaranteed to be a mistake are unreasonable. Most Magic players I'd consider unreasonable. They just want to be pedantic and act like these things are easy. I think it was worth trying, but there's a lot of people that are just like full of bullshit and don't understand game designs that are like, they should have known this was gonna be too good. And like, no, they shouldn't have, but they should fix it faster than they fixed it. I'm glad they tried it. Let's turn off auto order here. Yeah, I agree with that, Conscript.
We need to move quickly.
All right, you can feel the game slowly slipping away here. It felt like we were close for a second there, but as the opponent, you know, slowly puts us in that sleeper hold. Their card advantage from Teferi, Hero of Dominaria remaining in play, putting the game further and further out of reach for us. Deals 2 damage, you get a bear, you draw a card. So we could actually do this, right? Because this makes red mana currently.
Hold that thought.
Just cast a Hydrate Creases. Damn it. Well, don't cast the Hydrate Creases now. So we have 9 mana. This takes 7. Open and draw a Trial of Ambition here. And Grizzly Bear Chant. At least their Wellspring has to trade to protect their Teferi here. Yeah, things like Abundant Harvest and Dragonstorm was an anthology. But, Abundant Harvest and a number of others the names are escaping me of in an offhand way. I think we're fine. This does counter a crease if they tap out for it, so that's nice. So the 14-month duck, good morning.
Let's skip to the good part.
Gaslit made Mythic this month, playing almost exclusively Black-White Shadow for your page with some small sideboard tweaks. Hey, congrats! Yeah, all the high potential decks on the site are pretty reasonable. Yeah, Ephemerate was an archive. Ephemerate is great. You're concerned about Harvest in the long run. I don't think I am anymore, Precipic. I was a little concerned about Harvest when I saw it during spoilers, but seeing how it actually plays out, I like that Harvest, the fact that Harvest feels awkward with mana dorks and feels awkward with spell lands, I think is a real drawback to it. It's another card that actually gives... I thought it wasn't going to give deck building consideration, but it actually does have deck building consideration, the way it ends up playing out. I'm gonna go ahead and tap them out here if they want this. Oh, right, they have a Teferi. Tap them out. Yeah, I think so, Bacon. I think I agree with the statement that Helix is probably fine overall, but it was just too much for Jeskai control in conjunction with everything else that's going on.
I'll have a better plan next time.
I bottom these. I'm gonna crack this and see what we... Oh wait, this isn't the one that sacrifices. Yikes. That's fine. We're gonna scry bottom anyways. Can cycle this here. I mean, it's just been a long game of Magic, right?
Right on schedule.
I'm gonna draw a lot of lands when games go long.
Time for a break.
I actually think adding Helix to the format was a good way to kind of give counterplay against things like Gruul. Please resolve. Please resolve. I assume this isn't resolving, considering they countered this as aggressively as they did. Really? Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah.
I won't let you win. We need to move quickly.
We'll take one more draw step here. If it's a blank, we'll concede. I'm gonna count that as a blank. You played Black-White Auras in Platinus Chain. You couldn't win a single match in 8 attempts. So, Black-White Auras is not good right now because Thoughtseize is not good into the current format. Is like the TLDR. Blue-White Auras is having incredibly strong performances right now, however, because the current format doesn't reward you for being interactive. So here's the thing that Jeskai Control and 5-color Niv do to a format is they force the format to extremes. You can't be in the middle and expect to be competitive against decks like Jeskai Control and Niv. They force you to either go big and be incredibly greedy or go really far under them and be as linear as possible. Which is why we've seen blue-white auras increasing in popularity, because it's the more linear variation of auras. Black-white auras was only good when being interactive was good. I think we're just doing this, digging for a removal spell. Listen, extras, today on the most holy of Tron days, I'm gonna have to ask you to keep your sacrilege of wishing Tron didn't exist to yourself. Don't disrespect Tron on Tron's day of days. The Karn Father is coming for you. You're gonna find a Thragtusk head in your bed when you wake up tomorrow morning. Why is it everyday Tron Day? Let's not make light of actual social issues by referring to magic cards with them. Making a Godfather reference in comparison to Tron is very different than making a human rights reference. Don't do that, MySpaces. Thanks. Unfortunately, it looks like our opponent's disconnected, which is sad because we drew the answer we needed to this. We could have played an actual game. Sag. I was super excited to queue into someone that wasn't playing Niv or Jeskai too. Thanks for the 3 years of support, Time Lord. Welcome back. It's time to try Standard again? I think it is, actually. We're going to play some Historic Brawl after this, but I've imported some Standard decks, and we're definitely going to play some Standard this week. Yeah, it's weird to me that Untapped, the extension people that we use, they're a deck tracker too, and a bunch of people use their deck tracker. And apparently Elves is like one of the most played decks in Historic based on their deck tracker metrics, which is just incredible to me because that deck is atrocious. Yeah, maybe it's cheaper. Maybe it's fine in best of one. There are less people playing Control there. There's so many Anger of the Gods and Wrath of Gods and Sweltering Suns in the format. Deafening Clarions. Thanks for the 21, Sandy. Good morning, good morning. Elves players are dedicated. Well, I mean, I've met Elves players. I know you're a dedicated lot. I'm just surprised there's so many of you. Dozens, no, more like thousands. Like, there's a lot of them. Yeah, I'm gonna go find the stat now. So I don't think you folks understand. Like, how many? Yeah, like on their best of. On their metrics for best of one, it's literally the second most played deck, played at a similar rate to Jeskai Control. Like, It's a lot of elves. This is our first arena deck of the day. We played Tron in Modern before this one. That's what they hope their opponents say. Wow, that's a lot of elves. Accurate. We'll light up the stage here. Are we the baddies? No. Blue-red Prowess is the baddies in Modern. Just straight green Tron with no copies of Karn the Great Creator. We lost to Blue-red Prowess. We beat everybody else. It's a great draw. Yeah, that's fair. Tron, it's probably reasonable to describe Modern as a bunch of anti-heroes duking it out. I think if you walked into the average local game store, you could find multiple people there that would tell you they hate almost every deck in Modern. It's just how the format works. Xanthias, thank you for the 21 months and for the very generous tier 3 at that. I really appreciate the support. Alright, so I think we scry with this, looking for a green or white land for Tolsmere for next turn. Well, and actually we were talking about it, Monster Man. To buy Tron outright on Magic Online, it's actually less than $70. The list we played today was super cheap. Alright, if we can dodge a counterspell next turn, this Tolsmere is going to mess up this young Pyromancer. Every deck in Modern is the baddie except my pet deck. Yeah, exactly. Everyone else is a bully. Reckless Rage. Okay. Translate virtual cards to physical. So you can translate standard cards to physical cards directly via Magic, via what's it called? Wizards. But otherwise, like MTGO traders, for instance, they have a physical store as well, and you can convert physical to Moto and vice versa with them. Alright, I probably just have to Tolsmere this, right? It's a little sad, because, like, I could Renegade Rallier, Charming Prince, and, like, blink this and get my Fabled Passage, but I think leaving them Pyromancer in play for another turn would be a mistake. Oh, Paper Tron. Yeah, I assume Paper Tron's like $1,000, because all Paper Magic cards are like $1,000. That is true. Untapped land lets us crack this, do this. Which would be nice. I'm not blocking with this. I don't want it to die to a shock. So this one can die to a shock. How much is that Modern deck? I don't know. Somewhere between rent and a new car. Big mood. My modern deck is worth more than my car, shit Magic players say. Any reckless reach here. Oh, that's cute. I could have picked Mimic up and played it as a land with the Reclamation. That's a good catch. I wasn't thinking about that. So Fatal Push and Baffling End in, Extinction Event in, extra Skyclaves in. Probably a Reclamation out matchup. Probably don't have a lot of life to spend on that effect. Their hand probably gets empty relatively quickly. They have so many different effects that are similar. Silencer and Meddling Mage stock goes down. Trim a Trial. Since they have random token things. Kindle B, thanks for 19 months. Good morning and welcome back. Howdy, Dauber. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the Dark Confidant iterations are just kind of different as opposed to strictly worse. Like, for example, Glint Sleeve Siphoner has a lot of upside compared to Bob in a lot of the right situations. Howdy, Eminem. Thanks for the year and a half. Welcome back. It's sweet. Trial looking real good here. Definitely just getting that while the getting is good. Morning, Batho. Huh? It's like poke back, Recluse, Brainstorm. Rest of these seem pretty okay. We're gonna go ahead and shuffle this turn. We'll fetch another white source with this, I think. Alright, Glint Sleeve Siphoner will be referred to as Bob when it's almost a direct parallel to Finkel. Finkel was Shadow Mage Infiltrator, right? That draws a card when it connects. Glint Sleeve doesn't technically have to connect, and you could technically make energy for it and not require it to attack. I think that, in combination of the fact that Glint Sleeve is a 2-1 for 2, makes me think of it more in parallel to Dark Confidant than Shadow Mage Infiltrator. Also, Dark Confidant is like a design that they've obviously iterated on a bunch of times over the years, whereas Shadow Mage Infiltrator really hasn't been iterated on. Just gonna try and kill this. Yeah, I would describe it as being closer to Bob than closer to Shadow Mage Infiltrator. Glenn is an iteration of Finkel. Man, I'm so salty that the Walking Dead cards aren't on Magic Arena. If we don't get Stranger Things cards legal in Historic Chat, it's a huge mistake, Watsy. Sell me Stranger Things cards for Magic Arena, please and thank you. Renegade Rallier Get Back Trial of Ambition's been real good so far today. Let's show 17-month space. Welcome back. Got me. Do it. I'll do it again, I swear. I just want to gain 3 so I don't get punked out here. Really? They had a shock and they didn't kill my Rallier when I went to blink it? Seems wrong. So I want Yorion's trigger first, so that way Renegade Rallier brings the enchantment back, and then Enigmatic sacks the enchantment. Oh, I could have played Path. That's a good catch. So we didn't play a land for the turn. This deck definitely feels like it feels similar to the other Enigmatic Incarnation builds we had played where these creature matchups seem very reasonable and we have good, decent tools for them, and the go bigger decks kind of just dumpster us. Like, the Niv matchup didn't feel particularly close. Like, their life total got low, but I don't think they were ever in danger of not being in control of that game at any point. The bigger version of Incarnation gets to play just 4 Shifting Ceratops, which has a lot of appeal against the control decks. Well, my opponent mulliganed a bunch with their Lurrus deck and then conceded. So I'm going to assume they're playing some kind of Auras/creature deck. I'm going to board accordingly. I think 5-color Niv's the greediest control deck in this format. And a few more trims. Probably have too many cards for creature decks in the sideboard right now. These extinction events probably not necessary. You don't want the Thoughtseizes. If they're auras, I might want these, but they're not auras. It's kind of mediocre. Mulligan there with no second land. This is fine. I'm gonna bottom the Destiny Spinner, I think, and hope to just draw some enchantments to work with this. Looks like they are, in fact, blue-white auras. I think this is almost assuredly the best aggro deck in this format at the moment. I don't think it's close. Skyclave is very good in this matchup, though. I think I need to just Skyclave the Core Spirit Dancer before it can snowball on us. Your finest Deputies of Detention, please, deck. We'll kill one of the pups. We'll draw Sky Noodle, and then Noodle will be able to have the Apparition get rid of a Vanguard as well as block the other Vanguard. It's not in a terrible spot considering they're now on empty. I see people having a conversation in chat about coin flips versus not in Magic. And honestly, to me personally, I don't view coin flip mechanics as being really fundamentally different than I don't think a coin flip mechanic is fundamentally different than something like Collected Company. There's like some wiggle room and like Company kinda has a deck building restriction, but it's like still pretty variance based. They didn't tap their lands. They didn't draw their Lurrus. I wonder what they're... Maybe they're worried about a discard spell? Hey chat, check out my cool new bootstraps. Thanks for watching a ton, Caker. Welcome to our newest Shillionaire. appreciate you hanging out so much. So make sure the trickle down economy stays hard at work here. The next Shillionaire will now only need to spend 999,964 shillings. Make sure you ping me on the subs Discord for your Shillionaire roll. Alright, so... Yeah, Shillionaire, for reference, is like literally watching thousands of hours of content. It's not, it's a lot. If we just pass here, we do die to a second copy of Aether Tunnel. Maybe I was supposed to kill this. We die to untapped land now. Take a recast Aether Tunnel. Maybe I was supposed to exile the Aether Tunnel, actually. Yeah, I think that was the play. I think I punted this by not exiling the Aether Tunnel. Because I had Yorion to block. My Skyclave took the wrong thing. Alright, do I want Thoughtseize if they're the Auras deck? I think I do. Thoughtseize is pretty good in this matchup. Can you tell how close you are to Shillionaire? Yeah, the channel points, if you click on them, should tell you how many you have. Archon have stopped them from casting Tunnel that turn. It would have, but I knew the top cards of my deck, Silas. So if I cast Archon that turn, I was guaranteed dead the following turn, so that wasn't a very good line. I'm gonna be a little ambitious and keep this. I technically have a cantrip, and if we draw a couple of lands, we'll be in a good spot. I'd prefer not to sack this, but if we're going to miss our second land, we'll throw it away. I'm already a Shillionaire. I'm just waiting for the points to catch up. Big mood. Yikes. I think we could afford to miss for a turn, but we'll take one more draw step, but I would assume this game's probably over. If Twitter's taught me anything, it's that you should have taken those channel points and started an LLC. I think we got 18th or 19th, top 32. It really, like, yesterday's tournament really took me back. Instead of playing Brainstorm and the busted cards, I chose to register mediocre cards and Thalia, and then I finished solidly inside of the top 32 with the mediocre performance. It's just like when I used to play Legacy. Should have registered Brainstorm, didn't, limped into a top 32. Some things never change, right? Me registering Thalia and tweeting about how Brainstorm needs to be banned. Is it 2021, or 2012? The world will never know. When does rotation happen for standard? Not soon enough. It's the end of September. It's like September 19th. It's either the 19th or the 26th in September, if I recall correctly. If Wizards was brave and bold, they'd announce that Standard was rotating early with the D&D set. But they are neither brave nor bold. They are cowards. They do not block warriors. This is actually why I'd been waiting on sacrificing the Unbridled Growth. Because now, because now we get to bring back the Omen of the Sea. Omen of the Sea. Omen of the Sea. Yeah, the D&D set releases on July 8th. The next Toglandia Open will be taking place on July 11th. Jury is still out on what the format of that Open will be, though. Huh. Did I just take all of these? What if I just take both of these? We will not be running opens on Not Magic Arena. Why do I even scry, chat? I don't even know why I bother. How much did someone pay to get Historic Brawl on stream? Wizards of the Coast paid for it with their inaction in Historic. they know our hand is mono removable. Like, are they planning to just, like, try and play through it? This is pretty good. They get to hit us and then trade Gutter Bones for Lurrus. What's going on, Coley? Happy Father's Day to you, too. Thanks for the 16 months. Good morning. We have all of our colors here, right? Doesn't really matter. If we draw a land next turn, we can Path to the World Tree. Draw a couple of cards. They have Phyrexian Tower in their black aggro deck. It seems loose, especially with wanting snow mana for this. Because, like, if this was a swamp, they could pick up and play Gutter Bones, but because this isn't a swamp, they can't cast it this turn. What's going on, Three Smith? Yeah, I was off Friday and Saturday. Or Saturday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I'm live every day this week. I could have a removal spell for my bear here, but it's fine. They don't have a removal spell for my bear. My bear gets to trade for their Faceless Haven. My bear token is ready to mess up their Haven champ. For sure. Do I want to play more lands out? I think I do. At least one more. And we could probably shuffle this one away. Oh, this lets them save it. That's cute. That's fine. Their Faceless Haven's kind of scary. A lot of our removal is sorcery speed, which makes Faceless Haven pretty good against us. We'd like to draw our namesake card here. Enigmatic Incarnation. Well, I mean, I guess we just keep cantripping, huh? I think we want to go ahead and play Knight of Autumn here. I think I'm actually just going to gain 4 with it. We'll double block the Haven if they attack next turn. Maybe I'm supposed to play this. Yeah, I'm probably supposed to play this out, huh? Picking Lurrus back up would be pretty good next turn. Yeah, it's just slow and fair. The graveyard's also a pretty hotly contested zone in formats like this. Scavenging is actually probably great, huh? Obliterator. Trial of Ambition in our bin here too. So we get to go ahead. Man, this deck is really sweet against these creature decks. So we get to pick up Lurrus. We get to Bloodchief's Thirst this. We get to cast Lurrus. And then cast Trial of Ambition, Edict the Phyrexian Obliterator. The Lurrus has looked really impressive in this set. Gain a little bit of life here, close the game out pretty quick. Dunk. Big boy. Wait, you're just playing Lurrus in your deck like a psychopath? I am, in fact. Thanks for the 2 months, Whirly Boy. I mean, sure. Thanks to you, I'm hooked on Pogo again, even though I can't play leagues yet. It's been fun since, it's been fun. Yeah, I agree. Just to walk, like I said, I played Pogo super casually for years. Long time. Oh, there's a Yorion in my bin I could get back. Listen, chat. The world is our oyster, okay? The world. It's not a big deal. All the roads are heading towards Rome. This can't block. Sorry, opponent. I see the line. I like how they, like, paused and looked at the graveyards, then made the block that left them dead anyways. I mean, like, I guess it's faster than conceding, but it's kind of funny. I've not been impressed with Meddling Mage and Silencer so far. We also haven't played against much combo, though. These cards are decent against combo. Thalia's not very good here. Spinner's not very good here. Spellbinder and Archon aren't very good here. Rest of this seems fine. We also could have picked Skyclave back up to remove their only blocker. Oh, that's a good call. Yeah, I certainly missed lethal there. A lot of legal game actions we could take. You want a chat box to talk to people? Listen, Satan. As someone, I feel like have you played Magic Online before, Canadian Bacon? I feel like anybody who thinks Magic Arena should have a chat box. Like, you should be forced to play, like, I don't know, 80 hours of Moto, and then come back to me after that. You're talking about for multiplayer. Well, multiplayer's never happening on Magic Arena. Actually, 1v1 has multiple people playing, so you could argue that Magic Arena is an only multiplayer game. Actually, Jeff, you can play versus Sparky, so it's a single player game too. You got me. You got me. I mean, to be fair, my deck gets a good deal of value out of its graveyard. Read. Oh, my Deputy is in the graveyard. Nailed it. I am not shocked that they didn't design this application with multiplayer in mind, because look at the average Magic board state. Like, Magic Arena is unwieldy on, like, Magic Arena is unwieldy for, like, 1v1 board states, much less multiplayer board states. They designed it with mobile in mind. They didn't design it with multiplayer in mind. The mobile marketplace is huge. So from a profits perspective, that was very smart. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the multiplayer aspect of Magic's a lot less appealing. When you don't have a social component. I've pushed Wrinkle instead. I think you're right. One Enigmatic Incarnation, please. You ever seen EDH on Moto? It's a nightmare. Yeah, I mean, but like most of Moto's a nightmare, so I don't know if that's a fair critique. That people still play. Kind of like I would wager the statistics on people playing Moto or EDH on Moto are much less than people playing the other formats. You know, they don't share those publicly, but I feel like that's likely the case. Keanu Steves, thanks for the prime. Welcome to the channel this afternoon. Appreciate the support. Busy Dragon, thank you for the 42 months and for the tier 3. That's incredibly generous of you. And a long time. Thanks for putting up with me, keeping me around. Sure. All my colors castable spells. Let's do it. You're free. Welcome to Oglandia. Make sure to pop on into the Subdiscord server as well. It's a kind of always on portion of Oglandia. Talk about magic and pogo and politics and gaming and life. Lots of great channels there. Morning, Osby. Pogo, they still make those. Yeah, I play a ton of Pokemon Go. I have a couple of videos up of it too. If you haven't touched Pokemon Go in a long time, the game's very different than when you last played it. They've added a lot of features to it. Pokemon Go at this point basically does all of the things you expected it to do at release. Well, at some point we're gonna draw spells and it's gonna be glorious. Their hand's also kind of weak, which is a saving grace for us. Got me. Oh no, what will I do without these lands? This is a play from which I shall never recover. God, what is in their hand that's their best play this turn? I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jäger. They're not very good, but they're serviceable. Our opponent really does not like graveyard decks. Yeah, but they've been hurt before, chat. They know about this island, but I'm going to play the second Plains just in case they have another Go Blank, because I need second white source in order to play Skyclave Apparition if we draw it. I should be attacking with Rallier. Kobeg, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Oh, they want to recast this as a 5/3. It was like, what does this attack mean? They're gonna make a land drop and recast is what it means. I really hate that having disable emotes check doesn't disable my emotes anymore. So I like to randomly click around. It's not the first time I've sent an emote by accident. This is a little punishing for attacking with Yorion. I'm gonna trade these. Don't they have a second wrinkle? Guess who's back? Back again. Graveyard's back. Tell a friend. Do 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 do. Pew 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 do 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 do. I could have also been right to just gain 8 there. Wow, what a sick draw. What a sick draw. Try and draw land. Yarok having lifelink on the flavor text, looking real good here. I assume they're gonna trade Skyclave for my Knight of Autumn here. I have to discard a card too. Sedge. Neat. It's just Brainstorm. And I'm out of basics, so I can't World Tree and Incarnation this turn, unfortunately. Hey! Congrats, Gundam. Yeah, Declan's a solid name. I should have played this. They're going to make us discard it. Do I just gain 6? I think I just gained 6 here, huh? Thanks for the follow, Yori. This was a viewer submission, Stiggy. Yes, this build's a lot lower to the ground than the other builds we played previously. There's no enchantments other than Incarnation that costs more than what's it called? That costs more than 2. Definitely, this should definitely be in play as a land right now. Wasn't thinking about Rankle. Sick. One of your finest tool smears, please. The old gain 12, kill your spawn of mayhem. This is why I threw Yarok and Tolsmere in this deck. Having that top end to get and match spots like this is really good. One Scavenging Ooze, please. That was my end step where that happened, chat. So I didn't attack because we were at end step. For people that are unfamiliar with how our deck works. So, I liked a lot of what this deck was doing. I feel like this build really leaned into the strengths of what the other Enigmatic Incarnation decks we have played do, which is that this archetype is just very, very good against the creature-based decks in the format. That being said, when we played against 5-color Niv, they kind of just put us in a trash can, and it didn't feel particularly close. And I don't know that you could meaningfully make, like, that type of matchup better. I would expect Jeskai Control to be similarly hard, but, like, things like Black Aggro, Auras, Phoenix, those are all probably pretty decent spots to be for this deck. The bigger builds of Enigmatic Incarnation that we've played in the past, if you haven't seen those before, you can find them on my YouTube channel. They play 4 Shifting Ceratops post board, which gives you a lot more punch in those matchups to kind of run them down with those hasty threats, but this one being lower to the ground doesn't have that option. I will say the one card that really impressed me throughout this set was definitely Lurrus. Being able to sack a 2-mana enchantment to grab this to then replay 2-mana enchantments felt really, really strong at multiple points. I feel like if I was going to look at improvements for this deck, a A lot of the 2s in here seem kind of unnecessary. Like, it feels like we just put a bunch of cards in here to toolbox for the sake of toolbox. And, like both Meddling Mage and Silverquill Silencer is probably unnecessary. Destiny Spinner's probably fine as a one-up. Like, Brain Maggot's not a very good card. This, I'd kind of be surprised if it was good, so... yeah. Alright, let's kind of wrap on just regular Historic today. Let's try some Brawl. I had some people send me some deck lists. Let's play. Let's see what